Hello, everyone. Uh, I wanted to share something with everyone. Um, and this is something I hope Denims, one of the biggest Twitch streamers that are abusing their service for Twitch. She's abusing Twitch service by putting streams, even on YouTube, guys. She's putting misinformation for someone on YouTube who I watch alongside TechCom. And I don't know them in person because I never talked to big content creators like them. But here's something that I think Denims and Hassan should know. No people do no people generally do not have to be forced into politics. So that means the person, even though he's a citizen or she's a citizen, she does not have to get involved in politics, and he does not have to get in politics if he don't want to, because he is still a citizen even though he don't have to vote, because that's the people's choice whether they want to vote or not. Okay, in order to be a citizen, you don't have to worry about shit because you are a citizen. Okay, citizenship is defined as a legal status and a membership in a sovereign state, granting rights like voting and duties, but it is not inherently a forced political activity. So that means people don't have to vote or think about politics if they didn't want to. We have the rights to vote or not vote. Okay, if we don't want to vote, we don't have to do that. See, me, I don't want to. I'm glad the papers from where I went to try and vote. I'm glad they didn't send it. So, Denims, you dumb. Uh, Voluntary participation. While citizens brings responsibilities, most of these are civic duties: obeying laws, paying taxes, serving on a jury if called, rather than an active, forced political campaigning. So that means they don't have to run or campaign or even pay attention to politics just to be a citizen. Once you are born in the state, you are already considered a citizen. So, what the hell's dumb saying, man? She's so dumb. And yes, I am doing something reckless because what I make here is going to show her that she's wrong. Okay? Passive citizenship, modern citizens, is often described as passive, where political actions is delegated, okay, to representatives rather than requiring consistent direct action from every individual. Okay, that means you don't have to worry about politics to be a citizen continuously. Okay, okay, right, not obligation. So right and not obligation. Okay, in the United States, for example, voting is considered a, a foundational, so right and responsibility, but it is not legally required, although there are movements that are suggesting making it a duty. So people are trying to force politics into others to make it a thing, okay? But you don't have to vote to be a citizen or to even get into politics. You can still be a citizen without paying attention to politics and just not be into politics, okay? That's the people's decision, citizens' decision. And yes, I'm probably doing this while Denim's a stupid YouTuber and Hassan. They're saying people will have to get into politics to be a citizen. You don't be a citizen by being into politics. You're born in the United States. Your parents had you here. They became citizens. She's a citizen because she was born here. It don't matter. Okay? Mandatory services. Some nations have mandatory military or civil services, which is a form of forced non-elected politica state participation. That means in other parts of the state, there are other people that would force upon you politics, okay? Just because that person ain't into politics and don't want to vote, that don't mean he's or she's a immigrant. What makes you say that just because a person does not vote and does not want to get into politics, and you know she could still vote and not get involved in politics because the person who is bringing politics, they're trying to blame it on someone else. Okay, you're blaming what you want them to think, and if they don't think it, you get mad at them. Why? Because they're not doing it your way. Think about Trump. Why do you think he's in the position he is? Because nobody does it his way. That's why he's at a point, and plus he's forcing people to vote for his ass. So how is that something that is fair? That's not fair. Shut up. Neutralization requirements. If a person is becoming a citizen through naturalization. So if a person is becoming a citizen through naturalization to the U.S. Constitution, which includes swearing an oath. We are citizens. We swore our oath. Our oath is basically to the people. And to other people, you have to respect and understand if he don't want to get into politics, if she don't want to get into politics, shut the hell up, okay? You can't force other people into politics because you want them to. Denims, you're wrong. Hasan, you're wrong. See, in summary, you do not need to be a politician to be a citizen, while active engagement is encouraged for a healthy democracy. It is really rarely forced. So, because some people don't usually force other people, now there's two people on YouTube and Twitch, like Denims and Hassan, man. See, I don't respect two streamers that is using Judaism, meaning putting religion like your culture, trying to force other people here because you're here, but you're from Israel. It don't matter. Okay? If you're Israel or Palestinians, it don't really matter. Because there are some Palestinians that are getting attacked because of Trump. Okay? Yeah. Let's see how they get out of this when they heard me reading. I read it on there. Okay? There are places on the internet where you could find legitimate news and resources. Why don't you do that instead of just paying attention to election from a guy you already criticized, and now you're putting politics in front of other people? You're forcing people to get into politics? Look, I try to learn as much as I can about what Trump is trying to do. He's the one that is trying to make Israel in problems. Why you think the leader is there? He wasn't really over there. He was born in the US. He was born here because there are scenes where they show him in the news or any type of news where he's just trying to speak English, and he knows how to speak English because when he comes to a rally for, like, something to get together with Trump, and they're in front of the stage in a mic, you know how he sounds like when he's trying to speak? He sounds like an actual American. He can speak American, he just don't want to show it. He wants to make people think that he only speaks the language of Jews. Like, a lot of Jews speak English. Yes, they're Americans sometimes because they're here. When they're here and they start off here, this is where they usually start off. This is where he became a citizen, but he did it the wrong way. When Trump got him, the leader of Israel, that is existing this time and this year, since last year, since Trump had already put him there first term, okay? Because this is when all them people from Trump's side ended up being leaders of other countries, not just the state. So Netanyahu, He speaks English fluently. You know how? There are videos through news channels, those little clips that they show in the news when they're talking the truth. And Fox News has been a lot of unlegitimate information. Only some of them are correct, right? That's when they say, oh, we think Trump was fit to become a king, right? Nah, Fox News doesn't even try to talk that direction because they know they want to, but they know they can't, okay? So, hold on. So, every person who becomes a citizen here, because when they're born here or when they sign a contract, an oath to become a United States citizen, because when you're taking an oath, you also have to sign papers to show them that you're wanting to be one of us. You're one of us. Why? Because you signed the oath. Like when we are here, see, I don't have to sign it because I was born here in this side of the state. Okay? My family was from Puerto Ricans. And Puerto Ricans, because the US took them in to their wing and we became US citizens, okay? Because Puerto Rico back then was also considered a country, but the state has bottomed out and now they're one of the state. So why would you put politics into other people's head to force them into politics? Denims, look at the sources again. Look on the internet browser and don't say, oh, nobody should believe the internet because all the internet does is lie. Huh? Oh, is that right? Oh, that means she sounds just like one of my family's friend who left for a long while and hasn't came back. And then what happened? Why didn't she came back? Because everything that some of these people say because they're against someone who they don't like, okay? And plus, they never knew the guy and they were born here in the States. So you're gonna try to force a person just to say uh something, and if she don't agree with you because you're a politic person, but you're not learning the right politics. Get it in your freaking mind. And Hasan Denims, if you're watching this video from the beginning when it uploads from this stream, you're stupid because any person who is already in the city, who is born a citizen here, they don't have to fucking pay attention to politics. Leave them alone. And Emiru is bigger than you first. So why are you trying to get her involved in something she doesn't get involved with? I just looked at a video where people were saying shit about bigger content creators because they want to force them to get into politics. You don't have to be a politician or into politics at all to be a citizen, but it is recommended, yes. But you have your rights because you took an oath. The government knows that you who took an oath doesn't need to worry about it because you're a citizen. Once you take the oath, you're a citizen. You are a state citizen. So why does Denims freaking care? Okay? She's first took it down on another YouTubers, two of them that I know from the stream watching them. I don't know them in person, but when you look at those people and you're forcing them to stress out because you want them to, because in your head you think in order to be a citizen you would have to get into politics. You don't have to get into politics to be a citizen. You can sign your oath. That's all you needed to have an oath from the state to show them that you are considered a citizen and you would rather be someone who respects citizens, other citizens around you. As long as you respect the other citizen, but then you try to bring other people into your game. Oh shoot. What does this world become into? Think about it. She was like, Denims was always watching news about Trump, okay? And she disagreed with a lot of things Trump said when she reacted to certain things about Trump. Okay, if you disagree with Trump, why are you still putting it on other people who are not Trump? And then when you look at it, you already know what's going on because you reacted to it. And now you're forcing other content creators who are somewhat bigger than you and me as a citizen. Are you a citizen, Denims? Because if you're saying people would have to vote in order to be a citizen, I don't know. I don't know. Where's the language? I don't hear nothing. Oh, I don't know. I know why. Denims prefers to take it out on smaller streamers. Hmm. And see, I'm a very tiny baby streamer, okay? My channel is not fully up there. I understand. And I know that this was a big risk to share my opinion on how certain things are supposed to work because people have the rights to not vote at all. They don't have to vote, but it's there as an option, okay? You as a citizen, you could vote if you wanted to, and you don't have to vote if you don't want to. If you don't want to vote, you don't have to vote. If you want to vote, you vote, right? You vote if you want to. But if you don't see anything good in politics and you don't want to get into politics, that's your choice, right? That was Emiru's choice. That was Tecton's choice to continue getting into paying attention to stuff. Denims, what the hell is wrong with you? Putting Jews in front of you. And you were born here in the state, right? Why are you mentioning something that should not be talked about? Because you mentioned Palestinians? Lady, the Jews in Israel wants to kick Palestinians out, which they have done already. And let me tell you right now, Netanyahu ain't the leader you think he is. And yes, Jews don't mean to get into this. It's just Netanyahu is going to put his citizens in danger. Just like Putin put some of his people in danger. And Trump put certain people in danger. Why? When he built ICE, he put a bunch of random people from state citizens to other people in the group who are not citizens. But like, who freaking cares? And plus, ICE is getting disbanded. So what's the point? Why are you mentioning ICE? I hate ICE because they are attacking citizens if they're not supporting Trump. Trump will send ICE to go after someone because that person don't agree with Trump. They don't like what Trump does because Trump is lying, 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 lying. So what the hell are you going to try and put towards other people saying, oh, if you don't mention ICE, you're not a citizen? Lady, let me just put in your thick skull, your big, thick skull, okay? What kind of brain you have in your head? A peanut? Lady, please. And then Hasan trying to put more pressure on those people because they don't agree with him. And people don't agree with Denims. Only the few people who want to bring that up and force people to get into politics. Okay? Pay attention to what goes on in the news. Okay? And plus, when Trump gets out, that's it, baby. Because he's expected to be taken out in the midterms. That means this year or it could be next year, right? While he's already in the House. Okay, when he's already in the House for this half of the whole half of this year, he could be removed out of office soon. Why? Because he's telling people like you, Denims and Hasan, that he wants you to think what he's telling you. Okay? When he says, oh, you could go in the lunch cafeteria if you want, and then you're like, why? Oh, I got some dog food to feed you. Wait a minute. I thought this was supposed to be a cafeteria. It is. It's for dogs. Wait a minute. Who are you dogs? Oh, you are. Okay. That's just wrong. Okay. It's like you're Trump's pets. Okay. He don't care about Jews. He don't even care about Russian. That's why he was not able to make a deal, an agreement with any of them. How many times has Netanyahu tried to ask him for help just to kill the other side. Netanyahu is nothing different. He's no different than Trump. And I'm not saying every Jew is a bad person. I'm only saying the leader who is misleading his people, that leader is the one who's stupid. His people don't realize and they're not aware what Netanyahu wants to really do. How many people that he had in his part of those in Israel, how many of those people had to get their daughters and husbands, whatever, kidnapped? Because Netanyahu was putting himself first to put a bounty, a target on other citizens on his side. So Jew citizens, the citizens in Jew, they have to force themselves into an issue and a problem because their leader. See, those people, I guarantee you, some of those people in Israel, they're aware of this. They just can't do shit because their leader. If they did something against Netanyahu, other Jews, if they do it against him, he'll say, "Get out of here," like Trump would do, right? Why the hell do you have to bring up Palestinians or Jews? Because to be honest, I respect Palestinians and I respect every culture that exists in this world. So you're talking to people like like the way you say it, you think you know everything. Why you pay attention to other people and not just Jews? I have a doctor, a physical doctor, who only pays attention to Russian news. But do I get mad at her? No. I let her say what she has the right to say. She has freedom of speech, right? And freedom of speech, as long as you are already a citizen, you have the freedom to say what you feel is right or wrong. And if them say, okay, then everybody's wrong, right? No, no, no. Denims, stop it. Stop forcing people into politics. You don't have to be a politic person to be a citizen. Politics is just another thing that if you want to have a leader, whatever you want to vote for, whoever you think can get the job done. And guess what? Trump has made that promise so many times. He took two oaths when he was getting accepted into a presidency, right? Nah, the second time he didn't bother with that. Okay, the first time, yes, but then afterwards eh, he skipped it. He didn't decide to do any Bible, any oath to the state. Instead, he decided to say, we don't need to do the oath anymore, right? Why? That's just how stupid he is. He was supposed to take the oath the second time. Guess what? That backfired because the first term he was in the White House, he was showing the Bible, right? He took the oath, but it was all a lie. Okay, when a guy who is leading, who says he took the oath the first time, and then he says, I don't need to take the oath the second time, does that mean he's good? No. You take an oath, even when you end up leader the second time. Guess what? First time was no good, and now second time is even worse. Because now he's like, oh, I already took the oath. I don't have to do it. You always have to do the oath. You always have to take the oath. And when you lie as a leader, dude, how many lies have he made mistakes of? He tells people, oh, blacks should be punished because they're not human. Black Americans. You see what I mean? And he's making it look like they're African only. And, dude, when people are born here and when they write to take the oath, they are already considered a citizen. And you have the balls, or should I say, the cat, to tell other people what they should be doing and what they shouldn't. That's up to the person who is deciding what they want to do. Even though they became a citizen, that don't mean they have to vote. So there's your answer. Okay, Hasan. Okay, Denims. And if you report me, guess what? I'll turn that report back at you with YouTube service. Okay, just be prepared because you're putting politics against forcing it into other people. You don't do that. You don't force people to be into politics just because they're citizens, but they look different than you. That don't matter because they were born here in the state. What are you, crazy? But other than that, I'm gonna be doing another stream and I'm gonna be making a let's play. And if Denims and Hasan decide to see my video,
In
and
ancient
if they
days, now long ago.
let me get into this real quick. So if sorry, my music option is too loud. So now I go to volume. Let me just do that real quick. So as long as the person was already born here and the family took the oath not just for them but for her child, they are no matter what gonna be considered a state citizen. And people shouldn't force things upon other people just because of what they think and what they want to tell people what to do. You don't tell people what to do even if they're citizens because, okay, prove a point here. What kind of finger movements does Trump say? I'm gonna make everything great again. We're gonna make America great again. Dude, lady, shut up. So if you try to do something against me because of this video being uploaded to YouTube and you try to ban me, I'm gonna tell whatever thing you try to do to me and why you did it. And I would get a notification saying that I was reported from you or Hasan. Guess what? Why do you think Trump ended up losing this year? Because he lost the first term in office he lost. Okay? It took him 3 years to get kicked out. For what? Because he did wrong. Okay. I'll be back in another stream as a Let's Play. Oh my